Books by male Japanese authors that don't suck. So in my last video I spoke about why I don't like reading Murakami books and how I'm so glad I grew out of that very brief stage in life where I was reading his books for enjoyment. I now read them to torture myself and make videos like this, which you should check out. Link will be up here somewhere. Now, I was looking at the comments in that video and I kind of saw that there was pretty much consensus that a lot of Japanese male authors suck, especially when it comes to writing women. And I thought, okay, I've read a couple. I've not read their entire works when it comes to these authors, but from the books I've read, I can cherry pick, that sounds negative. I can pick out a few books, specific books, that don't suck when it comes to women, which is great. And maybe we can read more of these and then be like, hey guys, write more books like this. Obviously I am a man in the UK, I can't speak Japanese, so I'm not gonna go to Japan and be like, hey publisher, publish more like this. But I'm pretty sure when people buy the books, I'll publish more like them. I digress, I'm going off course here, but let me talk about some books that are by male Japanese authors that thankfully don't suck when it comes to women. And that's great, because we don't like when authors suck and like are creepy, especially when it, you know, Murakami, he's behind me, isn't he? As always, you can find links to these books in the description down below to bookshop.org. Bookshop.org is a company that works with small local bookstores to give them a little bit more of a kickback whenever you buy through bookshop.org. Alternatively, get these books directly from your local bookstore or go to your local library. We love libraries here. Starting off strong with my favourite book, If Cats Disappear from the World. Thankfully, this book is all about cats. It's only back now. It's about morality and making peace with your time coming to the end and kind of your place in the world. Doesn't suck when it comes to talking about women. Again, I've not read this book in a very long time, but I still love it. I should reread it actually before the year ends. But in this book, our main character is coming to the end of his life and he makes a deal with the devil. He has to remove one thing from society, and by doing that he can extend his life by an extra day. And he kind of does this by removing things from the world and then being able to remove those things from the world to be able to communicate with people throughout his life, his family, his friends, his acquaintances, and, you know, try and get some closure with them, including an ex-girlfriend. And in the course of doing this, the author does not like demonize the ex-girlfriend or any of the female characters that he brings into this. He doesn't, you know, look down upon the ex-girlfriend or any other women. Obviously the character has like conflicting emotions about this ex-girlfriend at points, but at no point is he like Murakami and hates her. So I'm glad, and I think that's kind of one of the reasons I like this book, especially the talking about the morality, and also there's cats. Did I mention there's cats in this book? So, you know, it's at least one book that you can go away and read, and I highly recommend it anyway. It is arguably my favourite book of all time, even though I've only read it once, so I should read it again. It's hard to say books are your favourite book, isn't it? But I recommend this one. Secondly, The Guest Cat. Can you see there's a lot of books about cats here? Maybe it's like a thing. If there's a man and he likes cats, he's less of a red flag. What can I say? Anyway, in this book is a book I have gifted to so many people. I think it's one of the first books I read where I was like, books can be like this. Books can make me feel this way. Up until that point, I was basically reading like teen literature, which can be decent. Obviously, I was a teenager at the time, but it wasn't moving me in the same way something like this moved me. Arguably one of the first books where I was crying by the end of it. Maybe I'd done that before in my teen literature. I'm sure like 14-year-old me cried when he read The Fault in Our Stars, probably. But this book like moved me, and because it wasn't just about the cat, although there's a cat, did I mention there's a cat in this book? But it was about the relationship, and it's about relationships between the husband and the wife and the ups and downs, and the, you know, how this cat came into their lives, and it kind of helped them see a perspective in their relationship and the way they were living, and kind of maybe brought them closer together. Again, amazing to see authors writing about like healthy relationships, because relationships go through ups and downs. They're not always roses, and they shouldn't always be you fighting. So it is nice to see that kind of perspective being shown in this book. So, you know, the guest cat, go and get it. There's a reason I've gifted it to so many people. And finally, the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. This series is still going. It's 4 books in. I read all of them, but through reading them, author doesn't suck when it comes to women. There are strong female leads in this book, these books even, which is great to see. The characters are humanized. It's not like they are there to solely move forward the plot. Hint, hint, wink, wink, he's behind me, isn't he? But they, like, sometimes, like, they are the ones driving the story forward naturally, and sometimes it's the male characters that are driving the story forward naturally. It depends on who's kind of in the hot seat. Get it? If you've read the books, you'll get that. And it kind of depends on whose sort of story we're following, at what point we're following it, because throughout the series, the books jump around a little bit through time. Well, definitely through time, but jump around through location, and there's like time skips, I guess, you know, is the easiest way I can describe them, between the books. So throughout it, you have very good female leads. They're not necessarily the you know, oftentimes when you see people discussing, that's a great female lead, it's often going to have to be like a strong-headed, I'm an independent person, like corporate girl boss. And it's not necessarily that, which is great to see, because I feel like corporate girl boss does a disservice to, you know, women and feminism as well. You know, you don't want a capitalist. Okay, I'm gonna veer off into like capitalism and stuff. Let's send us back. It's not necessarily like that corporate girl boss feeling of strong character. There are characters who display emotion, which is something we should have more often. There are characters who don't know what they're doing, but they're still a great character. Characters who are conflicted. But there's also the characters who are strong, they know what they want, they know where they're going, and I think it's a great encapsulation of how to write female characters well, how to write women well. Even like the young girl who's in this, how to write that character well, unlike him, who's behind me, the way he writes women and young girls. Yikes. So, those are books by male Japanese authors that don't suck when it comes to women. This is a bit of a scattershot video, but this comment in particular gave me the idea to try and find a couple of them. My reading of Japanese literature has definitely moved away from reading stuff by men. I think the only one I'm planning to continue to read, or I have any desire to read, is the next book in the Before the Coffee Gets Cold series. So obviously, why would I like read books which might be like super misogynistic when I can read stuff by my queen Hiromi Kawakami, by Meiko Kawakami, and so many other talented women from Japan who write really great books? Why would I not read those and instead read, oh my god, he's behind me, isn't he, Murakami books? It's like, the commenter put it perfectly, it's like, why would I read Murakami when I can read authors like Han Kang, I know she's South Korean, but that was in the comment, and Kawakami? It's like, it's a no-brainer. So I'm glad I've read these books by male Japanese authors, because they were read in formative years for me, I think, and I'm glad I didn't read too much Murakami in those formative years, and I found these books at the same time, because I definitely think, you know, people who would continue to consume stuff by writers like Murakami, they're the kind of people who are like, women, whereas when I've read these books by male Japanese authors, by male authors who are respectful of women, it's good for your brain. So if you know, like a young man, maybe 16 to 20, put them onto these books, they respect women in these books, because that alt-right pipeline is crazy, man, and I'm glad I never fell into it. So thank you for watching. I know I went kind of like, I was yeesh in this video. Remember to like, subscribe, and share the video with a friend or family member. Let me know in the comments down below if you're going to pick up any of these books, or if you haven't read them already. Remember, you can get the books from the description down below from bookshop.org. Bookshop.org works with small and local bookstores to get them a little more of a kickback when you buy from them. Alternatively, pick up these books from your local library. We love local libraries here. Thank you for watching, and I hope you read a great book today.